let us start with the remaining part of foreign trade. In the earlier videos, you have seen the difference between domestic and international trade. What are the nature? What are the reasons for the international trade? All this you have discussed earlier. Let us quickly revise what is international trade. International trade is an exchange of capital goods and services across international borders. In most countries, if it represents a significant share of GDP, that is gross domestic product. Now, international trade is exchange of goods and services across the boundaries or the territories of other countries. Now, international trade can be presented through the history in its economic, social, political importance has been on the rise in the recent countries. As I told earlier, that no country is self-sufficient and self-reliant. Each one of them is dependent on other. The excess commodity or things what you have should be exported, and whatever the deficit is there in the economy, you need to import it from foreign countries to make a point of equilibrium, right? Importance of international trade. Without international trade, nations would be limited to the goods and services produced within their own borders. So limited number of goods only will be available, no choices to the customers. It is one of the reasons that it is promoting international trade. The next one is international trade is the backbone of modern commercial world as producers in various nations try to profit from their expanded market rather than the limited to selling within the own borders. There are many reasons that trade across international borders occurs, including lower production cost of one region versus another, specialized industries, lack or surplus of natural resources, and customer taste and preferences. Abundance of natural resources you need to export. Now let us discuss what is India's foreign trade, right? The origin of India's foreign trade can be traced back in the age of Indus Valley civilization. You can find this in the history. During this civilization, there was a trade happening, right? The license Raj and the large number of trade barriers were intended to be done always with all liberalization, opening up an economy to MNCs and foreign investors, including core and financial sectors to private and foreign companies, transform India into land of opportunities. As you know that in 1991 economic reforms came to India. As a result, FDI, FII was encouraged, and with the help of that, foreign trade was made possible, easier and smoother. In the early 90s, the Indian economy had witnessed a dramatic policy changes. The idea behind the new economic model popularity is known as LPG, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization in India, was to make the economy one of the fastest growing economies in the world. We had opened the doors of foreign investment and foreign institutional investments in our country. As a result, there was a large scale production happening, economy boost up with a number of employment opportunities. The industrial policy of 1991 also was an aid to foreign trade. Now let us discuss what are the size, nature and direction of foreign trade in India. Now, as I told earlier, with the passage of time, that the foreign trade has increased in not only in India but all over the world. The world trade growth, which reported in 2015 to 16, was 2.8%. It was little higher, right? The share of export in the world, that is share of exports of our country, If I talk about 2014, we ranked 19th and the share was 1.17 in the comparison of world. This is what I'm all talking about, right? Now suppose if I see compare the statistics of 1991 and 1992, what you will find is that with the passage of time, in 2014-15 the foreign trade was increased in India, and the percentage share of trade of India's GDP, that was also increased in recent times. So in short, I can tell that the size of foreign trade in India and the contribution in the GDP has increased with the passage of time. Now let us understand what is the composition nature of India's merchandise of export and import. Now as you can see, with the developing stage in India, the number of goods were exported more, and the primary sector was the one who was exporting more as compared to other sectors, right? So the statistics shows that there were many things like leather products and even so many things were being imported and exported as well. With the passage of time, it has increased drastically. Then the direction of India's foreign trade. The capacity to undertake the production of large scale of variety, good political and diplomatic relations with many of the countries, all these are prompting to foreign trade. The next one can be, readiness to undertake several diplomatic engagement or agreements, which is boosting the international trade. Ability and technology for setting up proper sales facility and trade merchandising, and greater proportion of exportable surplus was also there. All this led to, there is an increase in the foreign trade. Let us understand what are the concepts of balance of payment, types, accounts, and what are the factors influencing it. Now suppose if I talk about balance of payment, it is an accounting statement showing the value of import and export of tangible and intangible goods during a particular year. As businessmen produce P&L account, the government has to maintain balance of account in case of importing and exporting. There are two types of balance of payment. First is balanced, where import is matching to the export, and unbalanced means that there is disequilibrium, either the import is more or the export is more. Now let us understand what are the accounts of balance of payment. There are majorly two type of account of balance of payment. First is current account and capital account. Current account records the debit and the credit entries for the following, that is trade of tangible and intangible goods or services. Whatever the income earned or whatever the expenses are to be recorded. Now in case of capital account, the account record receipts and payment from transactions on assets such as money assets like bonds, shares, gold, capital loans, and other fixed. And if I talk about the factors of balance of payment, they are like exchange rate is one of the factor. The second one is the prices of tangible goods in home countries, then variety and the quality of tangible goods, then level of economic development in the country, legal restrictions. All these things should be taken care of. Now let us understand what is foreign exchange. When Indian tourist visit a foreign country, he or she may not be able to purchase goods there in Indian rupees. They need to convert their currency into the into dollar or pound or whichever area they are moving into, right? So when the rate at which the currency of one country can be converted into the currency of another country is called as foreign exchange. The term foreign exchange implies two things, that is foreign currency and exchange rate. Suppose foreign exchange generally refers to a foreign currency. Example, for India it is dollar, euro, yen, etc. And the other part of foreign exchange is the exchange rate at which the prices of the currency is in terms of other countries. Forex is an international market of for free trade of currency. Traders place orders to buy one currency with another currency. Suppose initially if the price of 1 US dollar equals to 60 rupees, then it implies that the exchange rate is 60 rupees, and exchange rate fluctuates with the demand and supply, that is it fluctuates with market forces. Thank you. In case any doubt, please let me know.